All right. So our very first question for the day. Can someone help us read the question?
A project single sponsor has been replaced by a steering committee due to a significant increase in project size. How should the project manager approach this change? 1. A. Tailor communication to the new steering committee, recognizing that there has been a change in stakeholder structure. B. Follow the initial project plan, recognizing that the sponsor is the key stakeholder and the new committee member work in a lesser capacity. C. Schedule a low-key introductory meeting with the new steering committee and the team while continuing to follow the initial project plan. D. Ensure that the new steering committee members receive the project's current status reports.
All right. Thank you very much, Adams. Let me quickly read for those that are on TikTok. First question today. A project single sponsor has been replaced by a steering committee due to a significant increase in project size. How should the project manager approach this change? A. Tailor communications to the new steering committee, recognizing that there has been a change in stakeholder structure. B. Follow the initial project plan, recognizing that the sponsor is the key stakeholder and the new committee members work in a lesser capacity. C. Schedule a low-key introductory meeting with the new steering committee and the team while continuing to follow the initial project plan. D. Ensure that the new steering committee members receive the project's current status reports. So let's have your answers now. At the count of 15, I would share what the answer is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, I've seen 2 answers. Let's have others. You are currently 5 or 4 on the call. All right, let's see what the answers. Adam says A, Yaira says A. Who else is on the call and hasn't? Albert, what's your answer? Albert and Harold. I'm waiting for your answers then. Okay, Albert has responded. Can one of you explain or justify your answers? Why A? Why A? Why not B, C, or D?
I was torn between A and D. Then I saw that A and D is only talking about the project current status report. But then when I read the question, it said a single sponsor has been replaced by a steering committee. So it means that one person also is replaced by more than one. So I believe the project communication plan will have to be updated with the even the reporting matrix also. So that's why I chose A.
I love your response. It's actually, and what you said is true, because you're introducing new people, you would have to engage them. Remember how you identify stakeholders and then you analyze, you get to collect requirements from them, and then you manage communication. So you will need to tailor communications to the new steering committee. But before you can do that, you need to understand the stakeholders, as in meeting with them and all that. Yes. So A is the answer. Is there any question on this? before we move on to the next question. Okay. All right, so I put some explanation. Replacing the project sponsor by steering committee is a significant change in the project governance and stakeholder structure. There's the need to update the stakeholder register, reassess the stakeholder needs and expectations, tailor communications and engagement strategies, just as I explained. Question 2. In response to, someone should read it for us, please.
In response to spillage on some scheduled tasks, the project manager reprioritized a number of subsequent tasks to try to fix the problem. This did not work, so the project manager needs to escalate the issue. Which 2 items will the project manager need to consult? Choose 2. A. Change management plan. B. Stakeholder engagement plan. C. Communication management plan. D. Risk management plan. E. Configuration management plan.
All right. So, PMP questions are usually 4 options. They're normally 4 options. So let me read the question again. In response to slippage on some scheduled tasks, the project manager reprioritized a number of subsequent tasks to try to fix the problem. This did not work, so the project manager needs to escalate the issue. Which 2 items does the project manager need to consult to be able to escalate the issues? A. Schedule change management plan. B. Stakeholder engagement plan. C. Communications management plan. D. Risk management plan. E. Configuration management plan. Oh yeah, choose your 2. 1, 2. At the count of 15, we'll look at what the answer is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so someone says CD, that's communications management plan and risk management plan. So for us to escalate the issue, someone says we need to contact these 2 documents or plans. Another person says A and D. In fact, 2 people are saying A and D. A and D. Who else wants to answer? Change management plan and risk management plan. So from the options we have here, you all agree with D. But 2 out of 3 agreed with A. And who chose C? Yaira, you chose C and D. Why C?
I just see because when you want to do escalation, you have to follow the right channel to do the escalation, and the channels for the escalation are, I think, documented in the communications management plan. That's why I chose C.
Okay. Albert, why did you choose A?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I choose A because there is slippage. There is going to be reprioritization, which means that there's going to be a change. So we have to use the change management plan, make changes in the change management plan.
Okay. I guess I understand you, because when you are escalating, it means you've tried something and you want someone with higher authority than you to take over. Okay, let's look at the answer. The answer is A and D. A, because you see that the project manager actually attempted through reprioritization, but this line says that it did not work. So the project manager needs to escalate the issues. How do you know when to escalate the issues? You probably have it in your change management plan. Change management plan is where you have indicated how change to scope, to risk, to budget, to quality will be handled, you know. And then this slippage itself could introduce new risk or increase an existing risk. So you also need to contact the risk management plan, stakeholder engagement plan. You don't have issue with stakeholder engagement plan because the issue has to do with schedule. Communications management plan. You don't have problem with communicating with your stakeholders because you have identified that there's a problem. You have identified that the attempt, your first attempt as a project manager in resolving the problem did not work. So you need to escalate it. In escalation, you need to know what you are communicating. So it has to go through the change management plan. This is the impact. This is the problem. This is the impact on time, on cost, and all that. And then if there is schedule slippage, it's a risk to the project that you are likely not going to complete the project on time. You configure when you have multiple plans. I said that it's like putting ingredients together to cook. You have all the ingredients. Your ability to be able to put them together to achieve what you want is configuration. So configuration management plan is out. I hope that is clear. Question 3. A governmental agency becomes a key stakeholder on a complex. I hope by now you are appreciating that when you're answering questions, there are sometimes you have to factor in lots of things. Factoring in doesn't mean you introduce aspects of new question to the question, but you'll be factoring in things to be able to arrive at your answer. Okay. Please, as you join my live, like, share, comment. You can ask your own questions. Thank you. This is for those that are on TikTok. Now, a governmental agency becomes a key stakeholder on a complex project due to regulatory changes. Regulatory changes, we know that these are external factors, all right? In light of the change, the project manager needs to develop an understanding of this new stakeholder and identify any new high-level risks that may result from the change. All right? Let me take the question again. A governmental agency becomes a key stakeholder on a complex project due to regulatory changes. In light of the change, the project manager needs to develop an understanding of this new stakeholder and identify any new high-level risks that may result from the change. Which two options should the project manager use? Schedule meetings with the new stakeholders, update the assumption log, revise the stakeholder engagement plan, check the risk management plan, and update the project charter. Which of these two options should the project manager use in dealing with the new stakeholders that have been added? In fact, it's one, a key stakeholder that has been added. So I'm going to count up to 15, then I will show you what the answer is or what the two options are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. I see only 2 answers. 3 now. It's better you answer Because when you are writing the exam, there's no penalty. So it's okay for you to answer and get it wrong than because you may actually get it right. So yeah. So as a project manager, what will you do in this situation? All right, let me look at the answers that the bold ones have been able to give. C and D, C and D, A and D. It's almost looking like the previous one. Okay. A and D, who got it right? Let me check.
I got it right.
So why did you choose A and D?
Yeah, I choose A and D is because of new regulations that we have a new stakeholder. Definitely, we have to in order to get understanding of this new stakeholder, we have to schedule a meeting in order to profile him, to profile the new stakeholder, how to communicate with him, how to engage him. Then secondly, because it's a new state, because of a risk of regulatory changes, so that is a new risk. So our new risk register need to be checked and updated.
Thank you, Adams. Question 4. An informal and unofficial blog was set up to enhance communication and morale among project team members. The project manager was not previously aware of the blog, but has discovered that team members are using it inappropriately. It has caused some offense. What should the project manager do? A. Review the blog and assess the communications management plan. B. Reprimand all individuals involved and report the issue to the compliance office. C. Close down the blog as it is not part of the communications management plan. D. Identify an administrator who can monitor communications on the blog. Over to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 8, 8, C, 8, 8. Hey. All right, so I see one person choose C. Yaira, why C?
I tried to first I wanted to do elimination, and then I realized the project manager has only 2 choices. I think it's either B or C, which is like stop the block. A and D are not stopping the block. So between B and C, I realized that for this one, the project manager, for the progress of the project, we just need to close down the block without necessarily having to do compliance work. So that's why I chose C.
Okay, but there is something in the question. The project manager was not previously aware of the blog, but has discovered the team members are using it inappropriately. How did the project manager determine, anyway, it's inappropriate use?
You have to review.
You have to review. For you to take any decision, you first need to understand what is going on. If you do not, you would make the wrong choice. You take a wrong decision that would impact negatively on the project. So because the project manager was not previously aware. So for you to become aware, you need to know what it is, to know the impact, to be able to decide that, okay, it can be used positively for the project or no, doesn't have any relevance, let's scrap it. So the moment you say close down the blog, it means you have analyzed it. It's when you're working on projects, the blog, I don't think would have impact on the anyway, it may have impact because you are communicating with probably external, but it's an informal and an unofficial blog that was set up to enhance communication. So this is the reason why it was set up, and morale among project team members. Who set it up? We don't know. So you need to know whether the reason why the blog was set up initially by probably the team members, because it's informal and it's unofficial, is meeting the need of enhancing communication among the team members, boosting their morale, before once you analyze it and you think it has the room or the ability to do this, then you can now make it official, then put in some measures to ensure that it is being used, it is being used appropriately. So you cannot just take decision without reviewing and deciding that it will benefit the project. So A is the answer. Question 5. A project team has set up an unofficial online communications platform to enhance communication. The project manager, the project manager was not aware that this platform existed until recently, after learning that its use has facilitated some activity that a stakeholder finds concerning. Which action should the project manager take? Advise the project team to stop using the platform and review the communications management plan. B, log the issue and remind the individuals involved to use only authorized communications channels. C, since it is not part of the communications management plan, terminate the platform. Something like what Yaira did earlier. D, delegate an administrator to monitor communications on this platform. This I will give only 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I said 10. All right, so I see AAA advice. As project manager. You advise the project team to stop using the platform and review the communication management plan. Thanks for joining my live on TikTok. Please keep liking, sharing, commenting. Thank you. All right, we are getting there because almost everybody who answered got it right. I see. Okay. All right. Question 6.
Jumie,
Yes.
this PMP exam, I think is more subjective than objective.
Why do you think so?
Because this question is very similar to the previous one.
Yeah.
And it's because I got the previous one wrong that advised me to choose A. And I see that Adams, who got the previous one correct, he went to choose the second one. That is why I feel it's more subjective.
Okay,
You can
let's look
easily
at the
tell it.
options. Let's look at the options. Let's look at D. Delegate an administrator to monitor communications on this platform. Let's read the question again. A project team has set up an unofficial online communications platform to enhance communication, like the previous one. The project manager was not aware that this platform existed until recently, after learning that its use has facilitated some activity that a stakeholder finds concerning. So it's a stakeholder that actually brought this up. The stakeholder was not happy. how would you determine what did not make the stakeholder happy so that you don't even if you scrap it, the stakeholder may, as in you need to review or analyze and understand the problem. So if you are delegating an administrator to monitor communications, you have not addressed the concern the stakeholder had, so it's not delegate. Since it is not part of the communications management plan, terminate the platform. If you terminate it outrightly, you have not determined the impact this channel has on communication. You see, it is only the stakeholder who came out to talk. There could be other stakeholders that are not happy, or they find whatever activity concerning. So you cannot just terminate it when you have not analyzed the impact of its being in use and its not being in use. You need to know the impact. Okay. Then log the issue and remind. In fact, log the issue. Some people, I don't know who chose B. It means you are reporting it as a problem. Remind individuals involved to use only authorized communications channel. So you have a communication channel that is unofficial. Okay. At this point, we don't know how this unofficial, maybe team members just decided and they came up with it and you didn't include it in the communication management plan. But you have realized through your stakeholders, now you as a project manager, what it says is that you are not on top of your game. It's because your stakeholders have to come and tell you before you discover that there's a problem or there's fire on the mountain. If you advise the project team to stop, you would actually log it as an issue because it's an issue. You advise them to stop using it because now it has come to your notice. In the previous question, there is nowhere that says you should log. It just says that you should close it down, as it is not like you should terminate it. That's what this one means. So there's no option. The questions look similar, but the options are different. And the options paint scenarios. So you can have the same scenario, but in different context. Yeah.
Okay, understood.
And it is important. That is where simulator is key, because you'll be coming across similar scenarios, but in different contexts. And so it's not like you are memorizing the answer. But as project manager, you are like, today I went out and I said I wanted corn, and the driver stopped beside steamed or boiled corn. And I said, no, I want roasted corn. And he said, oh, say a brode, beer, but for me, when I eat boiled, I feel nauseous. So though it's a bro, but it is not the same, So it is an unofficial. Please, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. I'm unable to read WhatsApp messages because my phone is live on TikTok and my Mac is here. So, yeah, you understand?
Yes, can I chip in one more thing, please?
You can chip it in.
Okay. The reason why I choose B, though later on I said that when you review the that means there is an issue and you want to review the communication management plan. But in case, let's look at the question. In case now they are now using that unofficial online communication and there is a positive things coming out for it, what will a project manager do?
From this question, are you setting your own question? Because from this question,
yes, I'm setting my own question.
Oh, once you review, you adopt it, and it's positive, then it becomes
okay, that's good. If they are using it for positive things, okay, that's good.
If it is enhancing communication, is boosting morale, what do you want? You want your team members to be happy and have seamless communication.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Let's go on.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Question 6. Where is Vincent? Is he on the call? Vincent is not on the call. Oh, my regulars are not on the call. Zoom user, is this part? Hey, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't read your message. Oh. My phone is here, as in.
No, it's not related to the course. So
Okay.
so that I don't forget. It's
Okay.
something I was supposed to do way back.
Okay. All right, so question 6. As a result of multiple regulatory changes, a governmental agency is added. Oh, why have I repeated this question? Oh. As a result of multiple a governmental agency is added to a key. The project manager wants to develop an understanding of this. No, we have answered this. Hey, no. Have you seen the options are different? Hello?
Options are different.
Yeah. And sometimes when we see something like this, as I just did now, I'm the one who put the questions together, but momentarily I felt it was the same question. But anyway, as a result of a multiple regulatory changes, a governmental agency is added as a key stakeholder on a complex project. The project manager wants to develop an understanding of this new stakeholder and identify any new high-level risks that may result from the change. What should the project manager do? Review the stakeholder engagement plan and verify the strategy for this change before meeting with the new stakeholder. B, appoint an existing team member to lead compliance strategy and to liaise with this new stakeholder. C, consult the change management plan to understand the next step in accepting this change. D, check with the project sponsor to discuss how this new regulation and stakeholder might change the scope and budget for the project. Now, quickly, I'll count 1 to 10 and then we discuss the answer. So please drop your answers now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me peep on the answers. I see A, B, A. Okay. Let's check what the answer is. Reviewed. I think most of you got it. Who chose B?
Me.
Balma, why did you choose B? You and Yaya, well, are you living in the same area? Or you are using the same textbook? As a result of multiple, the project manager wants to develop an understanding of this new stakeholder and identify any new high-level risks that may result from the change. I remember when Adams was explaining why he chose his answer, which was the right one. So you need to engage with the stakeholder. You need to engage. You need to know. He used the word profiling. Are you there, Adam? Is he on the call?
I'm here. I'm here.
Aha. So before you can do anything, you first need to weigh, understand, hear from the stakeholder his or her expectations, and then you can determine the ones that is out of scope. You can communicate that to the stakeholder, Yes.
That's what we call stakeholder analysis.
But before you can do that, you need to first have some interaction with the person. And when you do that, maybe you had 5 stakeholders earlier before this governmental agency was added. It may shift maybe the first or the second or the third stakeholder, or it could be the bottom one. But until you have you engage this particular stakeholder and analyze it with the existing stakeholders, you will not know where to place this stakeholder. You will not know how to communicate with the stakeholder. So you read the stakeholder engagement plan after you have spoken with this stakeholder, and then verify the strategy for this change, before meeting with the new stakeholder. So you have the stakeholder register, and then you have the plan. You see, the reason why you are identifying stakeholder, you are identifying risk, is to be able to come up with a plan at the end. That's okay, this is how we will go when it comes to stakeholder. This is how we will handle them, and this is how we will communicate with them. This is, that is what the plan is. And so you have a stakeholder that is described as key. But for you to even be able to know, because in your existing stakeholders, you have key. So you need to measure this key with the existing ones you have, and now determine how you are going to prioritize, how you are going to come with the communication and everything. So you can't just jump into appoint an existing team member to lead compliance strategy. You can't consult the change management plan to understand the next step in accepting this change, because this change, you don't have any choice. It has to be accepted. And you cannot say you are checking with the project sponsor to discuss how this new regulation is a regulatory change. When Bank of Ghana says that when you go to bank, they must take your biometric. They don't ask you, do you want your biometrics taken? No. Or you now go to the head or the MD and say, oh, this is what government is saying. Should we comply or not comply? You will accept it. So check D is out, consult is out, appoint an existing team member for you to know whether you are the one that will lead this stakeholder, or you delegate it to someone, one of your team members. You will first need to know and weigh the stakeholder before you can decide that. So the answer is not B. Adamu, did you get this one? Did you?
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Of course.
If you didn't, I would have said you guessed the earlier one.
The name is Adams, please, not Adamu.
Adams what?
Aremu.
There's another Adamu somewhere. Let me write it.
Yeah.
Adams.
Yeah.
Adams Aremu.
Yeah.
Let me see if Adamu is on the call. Okay. Adamu is not on the call today. Please, I would like to hear other voices, because I can see that we are 10. I'd like to hear that. Let someone read this question for us.
The latest software built for a virtual reality headset release.
Adams, are you the one reading?
Yes.
Okay.
The latest software built for a virtual reality headset release did not include urgent change requests already implemented by the electronics workstream. The product owner informed the software team about the change during a daily meeting, but no one recorded it. What should the project manager do to avoid this problem in the future? A. Refine the product backlog with the team and the product owner before the next iteration. B. Increase the frequency of backlog refinement meetings and note the change in the retrospective. C. Run an ad hoc retrospective and add the agreed urgent changes process to the team shattered. D. Privately remind the team lead that the role requires fast and proactive problem solving.
All right. So I'll count up to 10 for you to answer. And then we discuss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see only one response. Okay, now 4, 5. All right, so I see A, B, C. Oh, nice. Jeda is on the corner. Nice. Refine the product backlog with the team. The latest software built for a virtual reality headset release did not include urgent change requests already implemented by the electronics workstream. The product owner informed the software team about the change during a daily meeting, but no one recorded it. What should the project manager do to avoid this problem in the future? Run an ad hoc retrospective and add the agreed urgent change process to the team charter. I would have to check this question because this is a predictive, an adaptive project. So I find this questionable. People of God, I'll get back on this. I'll get back on this. So, and see it. You have no, so how did I process it? It means my head was working for me to put an explanation here. The latest software built for virtual reality headset release did not include urgent change requests already implemented by the electronics workstream.
And they said the product owner informed the software team about the changes during a daily stand-up meeting, but no one recorded it. So assuming they have, during that time, they have recorded it, they could have put it in team charter, so everyone will have been aware of. So when doing another iteration, they should have been part of what they need to do.
All right, let me get back because usually when you are working and a little software built for a virtual release, okay.
It's a release.
Okay. So it means the iteration is completed.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, the retrospective, because it's retrospective and it will pick on no one recorded it. But the truth is, when you are working, if it is during iteration, you will not effect that change request. It will be added to the product backlog.
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yes.
Hey, sorry. Because that's why your voice is strong like that. All right, so I actually missed this release. Release means that it's probably multiple of iterations that resulted in this release, okay? So there are a lot of things that could have gone wrong. Definition of done was probably not defined, Change was being Yes, Renee.
I'm a bit confused as to what why they hold an ad hoc retrospective. Because I'm thinking that a retrospective is done after execution and then hand over or closure of the project. So when you say ad hoc retrospective, I'm not too sure I understand what they mean.
Release is not always it does not indicate the end of the project.
Okay, that is for agile.
This is actually an agile or an adaptive question.
Yes.
You are seeing software, you are seeing
release,
product owner,
software team.
Yeah, so it's an adaptive. So it's just like I think this ad hoc is just to throw us away because at the end of every iteration, every release, you would have a retrospective. And the purpose of the retrospective is to be able to pick error like this that nobody because at the daily meeting, this should have been picked by the product owner and included in the product backlog. And then the product backlog would now be prioritized or reprioritized for the next iteration. So if that was not done, maybe before the release, before the work of the just concluded iteration, they missed it. Do you get it? So it is from the retrospective, what worked well, what didn't work well. Oh, the customer is angry, we didn't do this, and it is because this was not recorded by the product owner for it to be prioritized. So yeah, but this ad hoc is just to throw us off.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And you are welcome. Question 8. As the assigned project manager, you are working with your team to identify threats and opportunities at the beginning of planning. What will be the best tool or technique to do this? You should all get this. If anyone gets this wrong, we may go offline. I may end the session. So I'll count up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Please keep liking my live as you join in. Invite your friends to join, and you can drop questions too. This is for those that are on TikTok live. Yes, let me see. Okay, thanks, Jelida. Okay, I see DDC. Who knows what Monte Carlo simulation is? Who can tell us what? Just, you don't have to go into details. When is it used? What is it for?
Oh my God.
How many of us have seen Monte Carlo simulation?
Yes, for identifying qualitative, quantitative analysis.
It is used to analyze risk quantitatively.
Yeah.
I remember that analysis of risk starts with qualitative, which is subjective.
It's subjective. Yeah.
And all the risk will be analyzed qualitatively. After you are done with your qualitative assessment, you may not conduct quantitative analysis, because at this point, you already have your
Probability
likelihood and the impact. Some people will just go along and work. So we are talking of
identifying
at the beginning, identifying risk, whether opportunity or threat. That's negative or positive at the beginning of plan. So C is definitely out. Sensitivity analysis is when you are looking at how a risk would impact, maybe because how sensitive is objectives of the project to a risk. So that you are not identifying that at that point. It means you are doing some form of analysis, because sensitivity analysis is an analysis of risk. Expected monetary value is also a form of analysis, where you determine the impact in monetary term of the risk, if it should occur. Brainstorming is the answer. Brainstorming is the answer. And brainstorming, we use it for a lot of things. You put your team together and you are asking, so for this project, what are the likely risks that we can come across? Is A, is water, is fire. You write everything down. At this point, you are not discussing whether it is right or wrong. Some people will use sticky notes. They'll give it to their team members. And once they are done, maybe they'll say 5 minutes. At the end of 5 minutes, you pick the sticky notes and then you stick them out. And now you start picking each of the risks one. My system is not charging, sorry. A moment, please. Okay, it's charging now. Okay, so you now pick each of the items one after the other and say, okay, you said water. Is water truly a risk? Then the team will discuss and say, yes, it's a risk. You take it. Is fire a risk? Oh, no, no, it's not a risk. You rule it out. Then when you finish everything, you pick the items that all the team members agreed are risk, you put them, and then that's when you now start the analysis. So brainstorming is the best technique in identifying your risk during planning phase.
Can we have other techniques in identifying risks too, apart from brainstorming?
I think Ishikawa.
The root cause analysis.
You know now why you asking. And you can use the 5 whys as well. Those are the ones I can remember now. And you can use the risk breakdown structure, RBS. How many of us are aware of RBS?
Oh,
okay, there's what we call RBS, risk breakdown structure. It has 4 main components. That's the technical, I think, technical management, I think external, I've forgotten, but there are 4. There are 4 levels. And then the 4 levels now have, you have the RB1, that's level 1. And then you have the RB2, that breakdown of these 4 groups. Please go and learn it. One of the things you're supposed to be doing is when we are solving the questions and there are terms that you are not familiar with or they are new, please write them down and read about them. This is data gathering. It's a data gathering technique. That's brainstorming is a data gathering technique, highly effective during risk identification for both positive and negative risk. Question 9. An organization is about to begin a series of similar projects. The project will be managed consecutively. Some will be using a traditional waterfall development approach, while others will be using an adaptive approach. For one of the projects, where the focus is more on the work streams improvement and efficiency, the organization wants to adapt a lean approach to the project. How many of us are familiar with the lean approach? What stands out in lean approach that you can tell us before we answer this question?
It reduces wastage now.
Good. Which of the following would not be considered an example of a form of waste? A, code testing. B, task switching. C, code waiting for test results. D, assigning a developer to multiple projects at the same time. I'll count 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No answer yet. 8, 9, 10. So if I were you, I would write lean down and read about it. And what do we mean by waste? Because it's not your household waste that we are talking about here. So if you don't know what waste is, you are likely not going to get this right. You are likely not going to get. I see. Jada cry, I suspect you because you are into IT. You see, even time when there's a delay, it's waste in agile and lean. When you produce in mass and you have to store in warehouse, it's a form of waste. So task switching is a form of waste. So when you switch from a task, the task you left is there waiting, called waiting for test results. So, we have what you call just in time. And then when you talk of WIP, what is WIP? Work in progress. Work in progress, that you want the work that we enter work in progress to be when hands are ready to work on them. Because if they are in queue and they are waiting, it's a form of waste. And we have also identified or recognized that the risk becomes imminent when work is ongoing. If you need to do something, let's say you want to cook. If you have not started cooking, you don't run the risk of pouring hot water on yourself or burning your fingers, or you don't run that risk because you've not started cooking. So you have all the ingredients lying down. It is when you start cooking that you can cut yourself, burn yourself, pour water on yourself, pour water on the floor, or slip and fall, So work in progress is where risk is imminent. So you want to, when you have to do, ongoing, and done, you want to monitor and ensure that when you pick anything from to do into the ongoing, work is on it immediately. It's ongoing immediately. But when you have to wait, like this code waiting for test results, it means no work is being done, and that is waste. Assigning a developer to multiple projects at the same time, it may not be able to function well. So that's also waste, and it will lead to delay. So code testing is a value adding activity, because you have developed something and you are testing the product to ensure that it meets the quality and standards. So it's actually part of the work before it is released to your customers. We're almost done. Question 10. Assume you are prioritizing solution requirements using Muscle technique. Which of the following would comprise what is needed to support the business case? A, must have. B, must have and should have. C, must have, should have, and could have. D, none of the above. Which of the following would comprise what is needed to support the business case? How many of us? Oh, okay, you are answering, so I know that you are familiar with this. So I'll count to 10. 1, 2, 3. Read the question carefully. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey. So you people, you have picked everything. He said that. Now, who can tell me the Moscow? What does the must have? What does it mean? Someone?
I
Okay.
understand must have to mean a key requirement or mandatory.
Okay. Okay. So Renee, what did you choose? You chose B. Why did you choose B?
Because on the project there are the activities that must be done and then should be done, which are considered key requirements.
The key requirement they must have.
Yes, they must have.
Yeah. But you have combined
The,
the must have and the should have.
in prioritization, solution requirements using the Moscow technique, which of the following would comprise what is needed? What is needed
That
is
support
the
the
must have.
is a must have. The answer is A. Because if you met the must-have, and you're unable to do the should have, could have, you have still delivered on the project. You cannot manufacture a car without steering. You can produce a car without car radio, and the car will be used. So please go and read the must have, should have, could have. I think the won't have now is very clear, but the must have matches with the business case. Why the business? Then the should have. If it is not in the product or the service, that your customer may not be happy, but they will still use it. Question 11. Which of the following tools or techniques results in a list of stakeholders and any additional information that can help engage stakeholders throughout the project? Which of the following tools or techniques results in a list of stakeholders and any additional information that can help engage stakeholders throughout the project? A, expert judgments in the form of stakeholder analysis. B, data representation in the form of stakeholder analysis. C, data gathering in the form of stakeholder analysis. D, data analysis in the form of stakeholder analysis. So there's data gathering, there's data analysis, there's data representation, there is expert judgment. It's a bit tricky or funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Only one answer. 2, 3. Okay. Albert, are you still on the call? Oh, yes, you are here. I've seen your answer.
Yeah, I'm here.
I've seen your answer. Yara. Yara, please, did you guess or you knew?
Between the two. I was reading between B and D, and then I said, okay, from the representation, then we can analyze. I got it wrong.
You got it right, Anna.
No, I got it wrong. I got B. I chose B.
Oh, okay. I was looking at. Hey. Okay, Balma got it. Or is the previous one? I think it's the previous one. Jesus, nobody got it. What happened? Which of the following
You said it's
tools?
tricky, so it tricked us all.
Which of the following? Because you see, when you are reading and you are ending everything in monotone, like you can get confused in the form of stakeholder analysis, or the 4 in the form of stakeholder analysis. Which of the following tools or techniques results in a list of stakeholders and any additional information that can help engage stakeholders throughout the project? It is after you analyze the data. Gathering the data in the form of the stakeholder analysis will not tell you, it will not help you prioritize the list and know how you will engage the stakeholders, whether this one is key stakeholder or not. Expert judgments. Expert judgments, they've worked on many projects, they have experience, but that will also not, because then it will not involve any stakeholder analysis. It will just be that based on experience, this one is data representation. Coming up with the data for you to be able to analyze stakeholders will not give you, will not prioritize your stakeholders for you to know how you will engage your stakeholders. Data gathering the data. But when you analyze the data that you have gathered, it will help you to say, okay, so you have identified all the stakeholders and say, based on this, based on the experience, based on the influence, based on the power, based on the interest that this stakeholder on the project. Okay, he's a key stakeholder. So you are now analyzing data for you to be informed on how you will engage your stakeholders, on how you will label them, on how you would, the frequency of information or updates that they will be given. Data analysis is used to identify individuals, groups, organizations that may impact or be impacted by the project. So it's not enough to be experienced as a project manager. You need data. It's not enough to have an idea how you are going to present your data. It's not enough for you to gather the data. But when you analyze the data, you'll be able to. The last, but not the least, while reviewing project procurement and accounting records for your project, you discover that there is a pattern of unauthorized expenses by a specific resource. These expenses are not within the scope of the project and have been somewhat camouflaged within a number of large and complicated expense reports. What would you do? A, if the total expenses are less than 1% of the project budget, do nothing. B, fire the resource. C, notify the appropriate management immediately. D, confront the resource. What's the answer? This one is, don't let me say it's simple, but it's straightforward. 1, 2, 3. I'll count to 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, you people, you have shocked me. Hey, Yaya, you're an African. Adams, Renee, Balma, Samuel Parry. Anyway, you are supposed to notify the appropriate management because it bothers on ethical issues. Because while you are reviewing procurement and accounting, you discover that there's a pattern of unauthorized expenses by a specific resource. These expenses are not within the scope of the project and have been somewhat camouflaged. It means the person is lying within a number of large and complicated expense reports. This involves potentially unethical or fraudulent behavior. It requires escalation. Sharp, 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 sharp. Africans, we don't like reporting, but you are supposed to report. So with this, we've come to the end of today's session. I'm happy to